have been writing musicals since I was around 15 or 16, and over winter break, I just finished a first draft of my senior thesis musical, which is called Simcheong, a Folk Tale. And I decided to go online and download TikTok. I posted my first TikTok about this musical on a Friday night. I love the salty sweetness. And by Saturday night, I had 10,000 followers, and it's just continued sort of snowballing from there.
Just watch me go.
Simcheong, in many ways, is sort of the Disney princess that I wish I could have seen growing up. And I think a lot of people have, especially in the Korean and the Korean American community, have had this same sentiment of growing up wishing that they could see something like Disney creating a story about that culturally resonates with them. Tell the world I'm on my way. I think it's not only important for people to see themselves on screen, but also to see people that look really different from them, especially in a time where there is a lot of racial injustice and there has been an increase in hate crimes against the Asian American community. It's important not only for the kids growing up to be able to see themselves on screen, but for other people to see stories about people that don't look like them. It humanizes us, and it shows that we are also people with lives and with families and who go on adventures. And so a lot of the feedback that I've gotten has been from Korean Americans and parents and even children, but then a lot of people that aren't even in the Korean American community. It's also sort of started going viral in Korea as well, and so there's been people in Korea that have reached out. And then there's been a lot of visual artists and even Hollywood film producers and Broadway producers that are also interested in the project that have reached out. As a Korean American who was born and raised in Missouri, as I'm a second and a half generation Korean, and I didn't really grow up seeing other Korean American people, didn't really grow up surrounded by Korean culture. My best friend was half Korean, and of course there's my family. But I think I always sort of yearned for this sense of belonging and this sense of community and a sense of home. And so I think that's why Simcheong's story in particular really spoke to me. We're seeing not only space, but even a demand for diverse stories to be told, which is incredible because when I was growing up, I never saw other Korean people on the street, let alone on screen. And so the only time I ever saw Asian people on screen or on stage was often as sort of the sidekick character. And so that's sort of how I started to see myself growing up. And I think we have the opportunity to change that and to show a whole range of people that they can also be the hero, even if they don't look like the heroes that they've seen in the last 100 years in media.